We're going to talk to you about the most urgent thing that is on our mind and what we suspect is the most urgent thing on the minds of those who will connect with us. We'll title this tape, Planet Earth.
In the spring of 1997, America awoke to shocking headlines. 39 bodies, all dressed the same, had been discovered in a California mansion. Now, the funny thing is that this wasn't a murder scene. No killers were on the loose. In fact, it was calm.
Okay, let's go to Girodi.
And this was something far more unusual, far more unsettling.
Looking at the camera, aren't you?
The people inside were members of a group called Heaven's Gate, and they had chosen to leave this world,
Thank you.
not out of fear, but out of faith. They believed that their souls were being transported to a spaceship hiding behind a comet, and to reach it, they must abandon their human bodies. While the story is often be told as a mystery or as a cautionary tale, sociology helps us understand it in a different way. By applying two key sociological concepts, total institution and resocialization, we can begin to see how something so extreme became possible. Total institution is a place where people are cut off from the outside world and where every single aspect of their lives is controlled by an authority. Think of prisons, boot camps, psych hospitals, in this case, a cult. Heaven's Gate was a spiritual total institution. We can see this as its members lived together, worked together, and even gave up their personal identities. Now, they weren't just joining a group, they were giving up their independence. They handed over their names, their belongings, their families, and even their future. They were isolated from society, physically and mentally. Their lives were being dictated by one person, Marshall Applewhite, also known as Doe. Under his guidance, the group adopted a new reality, one where the world was evil, and salvation was the only possible. Now we can look at resocialization, another sociological concept. And this is the process of unlearning old behaviors, norms, and values, and instead replacing them with new ones. So in a total institution, resocialization happens by getting rid of a person's former identity and then reshaping it into the image of the group. So in Heaven's Gate, this was actually a slow and deliberate process. Members were told that their bodies were vehicles or containers for their souls. And over time, they believed that Earth was corrupted and that their true home was among the stars. So to prepare for this journey, they followed some strict rules. Number 1, they all dressed identically. Number 2, they ate regimented meals. Number 3, they slept in shared quarters. And number 4, they avoided all physical affection and sexual expression. Some even went castration, a permanent physical act of loyalty and detachment. This wasn't just about belief. It was about identity transformation. And the longer they stayed, the more they became disconnected from the world they once knew. Now, Heaven's Gate didn't just exist alongside society. In fact, it opposed it. Where society promoted individualism, they emphasized sameness. Where society encouraged relationships and families, they demanded celibacy and separation. So where society valued success and ambition, instead they believed in detachment and surrender. These opposite values created a deep psychological divide, and members were no longer just outsiders. They were taught to view society as dangerous and corrupt. This meant that even if they had doubts, they had nowhere to return. The outside world no longer felt like a home. conditions really made it hard to leave the cult. Marshall Applewhite never disagreed when someone would want to leave the cult, and he allowed it. However, resocialization made it very hard to readapt to the society that we live in. And as stated earlier, this was a very slow process in resocialization. So many were in the group for many, many years, 10s and 20 of years. So it was very tough to leave it all behind. It was a whole chunk of their life. They didn't know what the world outside looked like, and they knew that it wasn't the same. However, there were a few that managed to leave the cult before the big tragedy of 1997, and those who did went through many years of therapy and counseling, had to join support groups, and they had to build new family and community ties that they've lost throughout their years of the cult. In March 1997, Marshall Applewhite declared that the time had come. He told his followers that a spaceship traveling behind a Hale-Bopp comet was ready to take them to the next level. The catch? They had to leave their bodies behind. Over the course of 3 days, all 39 members died by suicide peacefully in carefully coordinated shifts. They wore identical black clothing and Nike sneakers. They had small bags of personal items and covered themselves with purple cloths. To them, this was not the end. This was graduation. They truly believed they were going home. By studying Heaven's Gate through a sociological lens, we don't just look back in shock. We look forward with greater awareness.